As a kid, I learned something about the stegosaurus that stuck with me. Nature made up for the tiny first brain in its head with a whole second brain in its hindquarters, which makes me sad to tell you. Butt brain is a lie.
Up until I started working on this video about MailChimp's marketing automation, which is like a second brain to run your business. In fact, for my whole dinosaur-obsessed life,
I truly believed that the stegosaurus had a second brain in its butt that did all the things that its first brain didn't want to bother with.
Stegosaurus, 25 feet long, weighing 4 tons. A versatile sort of chap.
While stegosauruses are objectively not the best dinosaur,
I really studied them.
You love dinosaurs. We had to buy dinosaur books, we had to read dinosaur stories, we had dinosaur shirts, and we had dinosaur birthday cakes.
I know it sounds weird, but there are a lot of people who believe this.
There are Quora pages, pretty robust searches for Stegosaurus braintail, and myth-busting blogs.
Like hilariously in Pacific Rim, one of the scientists says that they have to have a second brain to run the back end of their bodies just like a dinosaur.
This is Dr. Matthew Weedle. He's a paleontologist that wrote one of those blogs.
Stegosaurus did not have a second brain in its hindquarters.
And as you start to uncover more of this false tale passed down throughout the ages, you kind of start to wonder, maybe humans need second brains more than stegosauruses did.
The earliest mention of butt brain I could find is from a true legend of paleontology, also a beard legend, O.C. Marsh. In 1877, he discovered a partial skeleton of a stegosaurus and started theorizing about the weirder aspects of its anatomy. Like many herbivorous dinosaurs, the Stegosaurus's brain case was really small. The famous line is that it's around the size of a walnut, although it might be more like a lime, while its sacral cavity, where its spine meets its pelvis, was 20 times bigger. Marsh speculated that this most suggestive fact might be what he called a posterior brain case. A pair of German paleontologists took that suggestion a lot further. They proposed Stegosauruses had a second sacral brain that automatically operated all the basic functions of its back half.
Which is exactly what MailChimp's second brain does for your business. Turn it on and let it do all that stuff that you don't dig. But stick with me here.
By then, the idea had caught on in popular culture. You can see it in this poem from 1903. The creature had 2 sets of brains, one in his head, the usual place, the other near his spinal base. Thus, he could reason a priori as well as a posteriori. But even as early as 1917, literally a century ago, paleontologists were debunking the sacral brain, using the meanest words that paleontologists can possibly use. While my mom couldn't find the exact dinosaur books that led me astray, the notion of the sacral brain has been passed down in documentaries and at least some children's books. There's even one that was released in 2013.
But if butt brain didn't exist, why did Stegosaurus have that huge cavity?
Whatever that chunk of tissue was doing, we don't think it was a second brain. It's a glycogen body, like the one the birds had, or it's something even more mysterious.
But we don't even know what all that glycogen does in chickens, so it's difficult to know what it did in a dinosaur.
Not that having a second brain is such a bad thing. Even in 1903, in that poem, people desperately wanted one.
And while nature couldn't deliver on a second brain, thanks nature, MailChimp did by building one that automates the back end of your small business. A brain not in your head or like a stegosaur, but one that's more like a metaphor. It lets you connect with your customers and sell more stuff.
So finally, a second brain. Just not one in your butt.
God help name 3 dinosaurs. So in 2014 was a Quilops, little ancestral horned dinosaur. Sort of a Triceratops ancestor, but back when they were bipedal and about the size of cats.